That's why I do that. It is interactive. Quick demo. You guys should be able to see me in there. I'm the orange, red, and yellow guy. If this was a bridal party, I'm the hottest guy in the picture. However, everything around me is blue and black in some kind of shade. The blue and black spots are obviously the colder areas. We're looking for those to move on their own. We do kind of have a cheat sheet with this. I will tell you, Frank, people do not like to be filmed. I'm just going to point it out. So people do live up there, just so you know.
Are you filming on that one?
It will be. It's not recording, but he looks like a cameraman. This is going to be a fun group. So, there's two cheat sheets on here. First off, we have a blue dot moving around here that you guys will see on the video for this. The blue dot gives us the coldest point in the frame at that particular moment. There's also a little bar that is on the right-hand side. The user will actually be able to use that to see the highest and the lowest temperature in real time. It does not show up on the video. You will have the blue dot. I do spot check this. So as I'm going through it, I am not only just looking for the blue dot, I'm looking for those blue and black shapes to take shape and to move around. So, Blake, we're going to go with you on this, guys. You're going to keep that camera on your left. Yours is recording right now because I like that one does record audio as well. So that way we have another point for EVPs. The software for that is horrible. The hardware is great, software sucks. So we are going to do a few starts and stops with this video. I will splice them all together so you guys only have one video to watch, and it will be in order. So that way you guys will let's see. Let's get into spirit boxes. We're going to use 4 different types of spirit boxes tonight. Spirit boxes are a way for us to communicate with the dead. Now, this one is going to sweep through your FM radio stations at a very quick rate. On your TV shows, it's normally just white noise. Mine are a little bit slower. I slow them down on purpose because you guys aren't trained to listen to just white noise for 2 hours at a time. I want the radio chatter to pop through. I want the song lyrics, the DJs, the commercials, whatever you hear. If you can make it out, it's a 50-50 shot that I can tie it to the location of where we are, a person in history I'm talking about, or even something going on with one of us. Happens all the time. This one will record the entire session for us, just the radio sweep. So when Ireland tells me what she's heard on this, that's cool. I'm going to write it down, but I'm going to spot check this tomorrow and give you about 15 to 20 more markers on top of whatever she hears. So with that, if it's relevant, obviously I'm going to give you the link and give you the explanation why, but I give you all of those different types of markers so that way you know what you're listening for when you listen to the entire recording. A lot of them are just great examples. So Ireland, you're going to have a set of earbuds with this. So with that, you're going to be the only one that can hear it. So when I follow up with you as we go through each location, you're going to remember what you've heard, and I'll let you know if they're relevant or not. So your volume button is right here at the top. It's a wheel. Okay. So I'm going to get you a set of earbuds, and no, I do not want them back because earwax is gross. So there you are. Alright, so I do have 2 of those. This one will not record because if I give you guys too much white noise, it is a lot to go through. So this one, again, I'll have to rely on the person that has it. Wow, that one's acting funny. That's never done that before. Oh, you broke your tool, man. Come on. There we go.
That's badass.
We've seen about the same thing with
Here.
these guys. And
Yeah, granted, but
I mean,
it's pretty much night vision, but you pick up
the
total
earbud
spots.
piece is on this side,
But
and then there's a wheel at the top above the numbers that you'll use for volume. So once you get a point. All right. More spirit boxes. Again, we're going to use all 4 tonight. This one also sweeps through, but there's no earbuds. It doesn't set up that way. It's not loud enough. So I attached a little tiny ball speaker to it. I'm sorry, I lost your name.
Rachel.
Rachel and Patty, the 2 of you are going to listen on this one together. So the volume control for this is on the ball speaker, right where my index finger is. If you hold it down, it brings down the volume. If you push it up, it will obviously give you some volume. So this one, I like to have 2 people on it so you can verify what you've actually heard. So yeah, get the gist of how that works. Obviously, when I'm talking to the whole group, I'll ask you to turn it down. So that'll kind of how that's going to go there.
So they're basically listening for something abnormal beyond just normal, like, skin sounds.
No, I'm looking for the DJs and the song lyrics and the commercials, anything they can hear. So if it says, come to Charleston, I want to know what that commercial said. That's literally what I'm looking for. Now, granted, anything with the word Charleston in it, I'm going to omit it. I'm going to discount it and say that because there's too many. We're in Charleston. We're going to be listening to Charleston radio stations.
Explain why you looking for that.
So,
Brandon with data he knows already.
so basically, in a nutshell, how do I explain this? We're next to Big John's Tavern. So if we have Big over there, John's over here, and Tavern over here, we have Big John's Tavern. That to me is not coincidence. Does that make sense now? This one works a whole lot different. Give this one too. This one is going to give us words in the center of the screen from time to time. Right now it says the word homicide. That's from last night's tour. And then it's going to save all of those words to a list. Last night they had 72 terms that popped up. It saves all those words to a list and puts a timestamp on it, so that way I know kind of how to check out all the other pieces. This is a phone app, okay, so kind of keep that in mind. This thing is meant to be a game and a hoax. 80% of what comes out of this thing doesn't mean anything. It's the other 20%. I'm still going to give you the full list, because sometimes it's relatable to you guys, and I just don't know you all like that, so you're going to have to tell me what's relatable to you if it comes up. However, if it does come up and it is relevant, person, location, one of us, I'm going to obviously give you the link to go along with it and the explanation. It does say grandpa at this point, so that's our first word. Leslie, you're going to let us know what's going on with this guy. I will come to you. I want to see the list. You always have to show me every single word. How you show me the list is this little white button right here next to the word. Obviously, you'll be able to scroll through it once you have more, and then just to circle back. 2 easy buttons for you. So that's all 4 spirit boxes out. Let's see. What do I want to go to next? Tate, we're going to give you something interesting to play with. What do you think?
Sounds good.
You've been quiet and hopefully responsible. So, this is the Neuralizer from Men in Black. None of you are going to remember anything.
That's awesome. I'll definitely love that.
We're working with lasers. So the point with the lasers is you can see the dots on the ground and the pen in my hand, but you can't see the laser until something passes through it. So you're going to be working with Frank on this one. Lasers get Nick in a lot of trouble. They stay on the ground, not on vehicles, not down the road, that kind of thing. It will get Nick arrested. Let's just put it that bluntly. And it will set off car alarms, so no pressure at all.
I can run fast.
Frank's camera can see these really, really well. The gist is that if I can find something on a still, I can put this laser in a 3D software and give you a full 3D view of what I caught. So we're going to use the red squares and the green dots. We don't want to cross the streams like this, right? I know, bad Ghostbusters joke, but it does work here. We do want to try to keep a little bit of a spread, and again, you don't have to be perfectly arm stretched out. Just kind of be casual with it. The slower you are, the better off you're going to be. So again, kind of tinker around with those and keep them on the ground so you can figure out how they work. The box actually has a toggle switch. Once you turn it on, it stays on. So just be careful on how you point it. And the pen, you have to hold that one on. I'm getting it. Hang on. No, I lost it.
Carly.
Your device is going to kind of coincide with what's going on with his. This is a Mel meter. It was dropped last night. It's called a Mel meter. So it has 3 different functions. It's going to measure electromagnetic fields. So anything electrical, it's going to measure, including cell phones. If something's too close to it, it will go off. Any big number, your bigger numbers that say 2.5 or higher, we need to debunk what's going on. Blake finds something that's cold on there, you and I can debunk it pretty quickly with the ambient thermometer that's at the top. So again, that's your bottom number. The last thing that this has, it has a motion sensor built into it. If something gets close to the antenna, it will go off. The closer it gets, the higher pitch it's going to go, and obviously there's a little bit of color variation in there. So I point it down because it is super, super bright. So I'll show you more about that REM pod motion sensor at our first stop. Just leave the antenna down and the flap open for now. Somebody last night broke my little lens on the front.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, they drop my stuff all the time. Happens. You guys also need an EMF meter back there so you guys know when to stop and actually ask questions on your spirit box. These are the standard ones that you see on TV. This one is super sensitive. This one will only go to 25 milligauss. However, Carly, am I getting it right? Mm-hmm. Okay, Carly's I've seen go all the way to 200. I use this one to help debunk things before I really do anything, but it is the first thing that will detect that something is possibly going on. So again, we'll be watching this guy all night long. So that one goes back to you. That way you guys can almost both listen in on that with the 2 different earbuds on there. All right. Everybody has something or sharing something, correct, Patty? She's like, yep, I'm good. All right, so go have fun. Let me know what happens. Wow, silence. I'm kidding. Like, we got all this gear, run. So let's talk about why we started here. Big John's Tavern. Brought that up on purpose. Big John's Tavern right behind me. This used to be owned by a football player named Big John Kennedy. He was a football player for the 1947 New York Giants. I will always slow down on certain key words, as you'll see throughout the night. So that's for the Spirit Box folks. This was his place. He sat in the back of the bar and used to tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel, if they were old enough to drink. One night, 2 guys come in, they're not old enough to drink. He has the bartender throw them out. They leave pretty angry and they come back the next night. They try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. Big John sees what's going on and he gets up from the bar and gets up and just starts beating the hell out of these guys, pounding them right into the floor. A couple of shots go off. John gets hit in the neck and the bullet lands in the wall. You guys are gonna make me talk right now.
Where's the wheel at again? Just, you know.
See what happens when I pause? It's right next to the button.
Okay.
So yours is a little bit further in. So after being shot in the neck, John gets up and goes back to the bar and he tells the bartender to get him another beer, get the 2 guys on the floor, and ambulance. So nobody dies in that story. So what's haunting the place is the bullet hole. It's allegedly still here. Even if it's not, if they filled it in during the renovations of the new Big John's, John's blood is still in the building. People that sit in the front of this bar tend to get a little queasy, nauseous, or headache. I had a young lady the other night that ate dinner there and could not finish her meal. Just to tell you how nauseous she got. She didn't know the story until obviously she met with me after dinner. So, I tell this as a heated warning on purpose. This is why we start here. Anybody feels any of those symptoms, headache, nauseous, or dizziness, I need to know immediately so we can move the whole group to get that person to safety. Is that fair? Mm-hmm. Fingers crossed we're going to be dealing with some paranormal activity tonight. So again, I don't know how it's going to affect you. Now, you guys got really, really quiet, so let's talk about something a little happier that's not our own health. We had a big earthquake here in 1886. If you didn't know that, that's happier, right? So, if you've taken any kind of Charleston history tour, you probably already knew that. But this is allegedly where the first death occurred from that earthquake. A piece of the mantling in the middle of the building, that white bar behind me, also goes in the front of the bar on East Bay Street. So a piece of it broke off, struck somebody in the back of the head, and killed them. They say you could see his ghost in the middle of East Bay in the middle of the night. Now, I say apparently and allegedly and all that crazy hypothetical stuff with this story because I don't have any proof. It's just a great segue so nobody's thinking about getting sick on the tour. So, are you guys all ready to go ghost hunting?
Yes.
All right. She's like, yeah, I'm tired of sitting. We're going to go this way, so I'm going to cut through you guys.
You were so lazy. You were sitting on a post.
I was.
God knows.
Do you want this one? I'll share with Rachel. Because all you have to do is press on it is that when he comes around and wants to see the list, you just press the list and show him the list. So you can have that one. I'll share with you. Okay. It's doing it itself. Okay. It's only when he comes. You just watch the words. When the words change, you just keep an eye on the words. What you say.
Yeah, I need to get one of these things for the house.
Yeah, well,
I can sit out in the yard all night, pup code.
Rachel, maybe and I traded, so I can share with you.
Oh, you have the word list now?
Yeah, we just traded
You
just because
traded?
of the trail.
And that's
No.
part of the reason why like you guys have the one shared device, so that way you guys can kind of intermingle what you guys are working with.
When it changes words,
You just look at them.
And I will come to you when I want to see
Right.
the list, so that way you're not trying to show me every word. All right, so your guys' times with me should be thought of as kind of a ghost hunting 101. This is a level 1. This is very easy stuff here. So this is the big red barn lot where we keep your horses for the carriage rides. Notice I'm keeping my voice down. There are horses inside. There's no glass in those panes. They can hear us. I'm trying not to spook the horses at this point, which brings me to the next point. Tate, you're going to be watching those lasers pretty close. Please do not put them on. You will spook the ponies. So I'm like a bad dad with those lasers. I'm sorry. So history here is really simple. It's really so I can work with you guys individually, one-on-one, and show you more tactics with your devices. The history is, this is the same barn where we held horses that delivered milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. So, when you're going through your spirit boxes, this is not television. This is not, is somebody here? Like everybody wants to ask. If they answer no, that means somebody's here. Okay? So we're not going to be asking yes or no questions. You all are here for fun and to actually get some kind of paranormal experience. You're not going to get it from a yes or no question. I promise you that. So you're going to ask questions here that you already know the answers to. Like, if somebody's here, tell me what color the big red barn is. Obviously, the word we're looking for is red. But there are 3 spirit boxes that are using audibles to be able to try to find the word red. That word might not be available to a song lyric or DJ or commercial at that time. But fire truck, blood, heart, all 3 of those things are specifically red. That would be an acceptable answer. Keep in mind, most of the night I'm going to require 2 pieces from spirit boxes to verify what's going on. For example, Patty sees the word art on her word list, and Ireland hears the number 40 on her spirit box. Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. You see where I have to take those 2 clues and put them together and make sure it makes sense? A lot of the stories tonight are going to have the same, different people with same names. So lots of Georges, Johns, Elizas. Like, we need to know who we're talking to. So we're going to be able to clarify that as we go through each of these stories tonight. In the event you don't get an answer to what color is the big red barn, open it up. What's inside the barn? Obviously, anything dealing with a horse is going to work. But the keywords I gave you in the one-line history was delivery, milk, and eggs. So anything relatable to that is also going to be acceptable at the same time. Again, we're not going to spend a lot of time here. This is just a space where I can bounce around with everybody to kind of show you more tactics with your devices. I do start with the cameras first, the spirit boxes. I will tell you this is the easiest as it's going to get. But the cameras I start with first. I would say everybody else can spread out. We are in a space with vehicles. So we're going to hit 2 or 3 spaces with vehicles. We're going to stay away from them. We're not going to go in between them. We're definitely not going to lean on them or point lasers at them. So people get a little funny about that. Just imagine if one of these cars was yours. Obviously, I've had experience with people screaming at me because we had lasers on their vehicle and we set off their alarm, or we were leaning on it. So it's kind of a, let's just stay away from vehicles altogether. It's kind of hard to ghost hunt and just be at one little tiny space. So that's why I bring you to spaces like this. Yes, ma'am.
Why does it change colors?
It's all part of the aesthetic. They want it to be scary.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's doing a
It makes
good job.
growls and noises and all kinds of things too. I just turn that stuff down. I don't know if anybody named Justin here. So,
I hear a lot of music.
but at least she's hearing something, so that's good. All right, so spirit boxes definitely spread out. Cameras stay behind with me. You should be following, and I'm losing names. Are you Al?
Al.
Okay, so
Adam.
you should be following Al and Carly. They actually have the 2 devices that are going to show you where the hot spots are because they're measuring EMF. So all of the spirit boxes should be basically looking at them and seeing where they're going. And again, Carly, on your end, anything above 2.5 on your big number, and I'm going to be coming to you next to show you more about that motion sensor. So cameras, stay behind. Spirit boxes, everybody else.
Should I be leading with these 2?
Yeah, you're going to hang back here with me and Frank.
And so
It's
this
above
is a spirit or whatever.
That is a spirit
Okay.
box. Just a different style than the other.
Okay, just tell me where to go.
It might
You
be.
guys don't have the EMF. Yeah,
I hope
just,
not.
I would say stick with Ireland for now, since she's going to be kind of wandering around with hers. The 2 of you are obviously working together.
And then it was
going up in yellow.
Okay, yeah,
And then
right here.
Blake, where you at? Come on over here so I can show you more about your device. With yours, we're going to start there. So your device, you're going to try to keep somebody's skin tone in there at all times, only because we're going to be the warmest thing out here. With this being a full party, that's going to be pretty easy to do throughout the night.
Did you get 2?
I try normally not to give the cameras to tall people, because again, people don't like their cars being filmed either.
Sorry.
So no, you're fine. But with that, there you
Be
go.
short.
Yeah. If somebody is going to their car, both of you just want to
Oh,
actually be
yeah.
holding your device. Just go the opposite way. Right.
And what's the color that I should be telling you about?
Anything above the 1 green dot.
Oh, because we have like yellow. We've had yellow here.
Yeah, we've
She
had
said a
yellow standing over here a
4.8.
minute ago. I just hit an 8.
Okay,
on this?
I have to write that stuff down, so remind me.
Okay.
Yours went up to 15, yours went to 8. I know your colors, I have them memorized. So
Okay.
when you guys tell me colors, I know what they are.
Okay.
Just watch how far you go. You don't want to go that far. Yep. So lasers, definitely want to stay within like 4 to 5 feet in front of you only. And as far as Frank, you want to be pointing your camera at his, so that way you can actually see what's going on there. Now,
What's going to get rid of these little bubbles?
me wiping it down,
Okay.
which I always carry a cloth with me.
Are we supposed
I
to
do
all be
sanitize
together?
everything, so.
Well,
I was asking if we're all supposed to be together. 'cause
And
they're
which
going
bubbles
that
are you
way.
talking about? The purple bubbles?
Okay, they're good. Well, yeah, I mean, these little dots and everything, they were all over.
Okay, well, they're not anymore.
Okay.
All right, so again, you have the gist that you want to try to keep a person in there. The blue dot, just so you know, also will default to the sky if it is in view. Some of these spaces, it's going to be impossible to do that with. So do your best to keep the sky out and people in. And
Yes, sir.
So
Keep it tilted. I
Yeah.
got you.
You got it. So nice slow movements make a nicer video to watch. So
Yeah, I won't make nobody sick.
Hey, where's the volume button? Or the...
okay, so this is face up. So I made it so where you have to push the button on the right hand side up to get some volume out of it, and then you pull this down. Check on the spirit boxes, and we're probably going to get rolling here. Did you get all the way up to red?
Yeah, I had red over here. Like a solid yellow.
So the slower you guys are, all right, ghost hunting group. Let's move on to the next space. Random words is what we want.
Yeah, well, I
only entrance and exit, so I want to pull everybody over this way. I know there's some wiring. So what do you got now?
Oh, nothing. I was just saying, one escape route.
Yeah. Well, we have a walkway up front. So
I got
There's-
2 reds over
I'm not surprised. So let's turn off that REM pod for now, because there's a lot of history that goes on here. First and foremost, I want to tell the Spirit Box teams, let's kill the lasers while those people are in their vehicles. Again, they get weirded out. The Spirit Box folks, I'm not going to be giving you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse, like what we did over there. You're not going to know the answers. I will give you questions at the end of this little bit of history of this location. You can use them or you can go rogue. If you go rogue, make sure it's things we can prove. So I'll get into that as we go throughout the story here. So what is this place? It's another beautiful space of Charleston, right? It's a parking lot. This used to be the Charles and Eliza Pinckney Mansion site. So their mansion was in the front of this space. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant over there and came all the way across, and we're standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. So Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles, and they had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Charleses. I know, I'm boring you to this already. So we always need to know which Charles we're referring to. The son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution. The son was raised right where we're standing. So I don't like politics, and you guys are all on vacation, which means you probably don't want to talk about politics either. So let's talk about Eliza. She's way more interesting. Eliza married Charles at a young age according to today's standards, not the colonial time standards that she came from. Just kind of keep that in mind. I'm not going to give you what that number is, but I will tell you that Charles was over double her age. So if you want to ask her how old she was when she got married, she might give you her age, she might give you Charles's age. She married him because her father over in England thought he was dying, and he wanted to see all of his kids one more time before he died. She didn't think he was dying, so she got married. This is 1744. She didn't marry him for a green card or citizenship because we weren't even a country yet. She married him out of love, and yes, she did remain a widow after he died for a long period of time. So she was right. Dad didn't die right away. Dad starts sending gifts to this place where she lived as kind of apologetically. One of those gifts happened to be the plant indigo. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. Some of us are wearing it tonight. That's how we still use it today. We obviously don't have very warm temperatures here in South Carolina all the time. She had to learn from her slaves how to keep it cultivated in our very weird temperatures, and once she had it figured out, she moved it to another plantation home, calls her dad and says, the rice plantation prices are going downhill. We can make a killing with this indigo, and now we have an international businesswoman during colonial times. This is something absolutely unheard of. So, pretty big deal. And no other tour is going to talk about Eliza Pinckney unless you're on a Pinckney site. So, let's get into the weird stuff about Eliza. That's why you guys are all here, is the weird stuff, right? Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles, back to back, same year. First wife died, 6 months later he marries this one. Ironically, both Elizas have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. You want to find out which Eliza we're speaking to? Ask her maiden name. You can ask the marriage question, obviously. You can ask what happened to the mansion. It's not here anymore. Then you can ask what year that happened. So, again, I'm going to give you the clue that, yes, it was a tragedy. Obviously, there's only so many tragedies we can go through. As far as the children, you know there's at least one. There are more, but I'm going to ask that you don't poke the bear with this one. Ask how many kids she had and try to get their names, and then leave it alone. There is a tragedy among those kids that if we poke the bear too much, all activity will stop. I've seen it dozens of times. Dozens. So, kind of keep that in mind. Let's see, Eliza's death. That's pretty basic stuff, right? Ask Eliza anything you want to about her death. How old she was, what did she die from, where is she buried, and what U.S. president acted as a pallbearer at her funeral. So, again, very specific questions. Notice that none of them are yes or no questions. We are going to have a good 10-minute session in here. If we get more activity than I see than normal, then obviously we'll stay about 15 minutes before we move on. But I will be bouncing around with every single set of people that around. We are going to spread out. Again, lots of vehicles in this space tonight. So again, you guys know the rules. You guys are all adults here. So have some fun with it. I'm going to be bouncing around with everybody and kind of seeing what's going on. You'll see me taking lots of notes on my little notepad so that way I can put it in your analysis tomorrow. Again, you can use any of the questions that I gave you. As far as the servants and slaves, I have no records that I can find on any of them. So if you're going to ask questions directly to the slaves and servants that she had, I can't prove any of it. Just so you guys know. All right, let's spread out. Let's have some fun. Turn up those spirit boxes.
And so I asked the questions.
You can ask questions. Absolutely.
So
See what else you got before we spread you guys out. Henry, but I don't
I got discovered communism and beer on the wall.
Again, I've had people have those claims.
I'm just saying, I don't know if it's instant. Why is that? What was your maiden name? Eliza, what was your maiden name?
We heard dancing. We asked her husband, is that correct?
How you doing on your end, buddy?
Well, 34, 38.
What's that?
Well, 34, 38. This little patch right here turned about 56.
Okay.
But, I mean, that's the lowest I've seen before that was 69.
34, 38.
34,
Probably, was it
38.
from any glass windshields?
No, that's when I was painting over to catch them walking that way.
Okay.
So,
So at least I know where I need to look. 'Cause
yeah.
We're probably.
Well, it's the same patch right here that's coming out.
Uh-huh.
It picked it up at about 59 right here.
It's weird because Tate said he felt somebody touch him.
Yep.
So
Well, see, it's all been patchy,
Mm-hmm.
but then it just
Well,
stopped.
this is gravel.
Right.
So there's mud underneath. There's going to be different variations
Yeah.
of temperature. I expect that out of this space.
Yeah.
And the windshields always throw it off. That's why in this,
That's why I was
Yeah.
asking, what's your range on this that you
Um,
like to keep it at? Closer to people or
as long as you got somebody in view, like the person you have there on the left and then off in the distance, like
Yeah.
those are perfectly fine.
do I need to keep the...
Yeah, you don't need to like put them up in their face or anything.
Right.
You know, as long as I have some skin in there somewhere.
I got you. I mean, this thing come in handy to kind of...
I'm sure.
oh, yeah.
Well, that's actually used by firemen and mechanics. Like that's, I mean,
Did her house burn down?
they did. What'd you hear?
I said, what happened to your house? And she said, fire.
Yeah, it's not uncommon for us to get the word fire in here. That's why I give you guys that question.
Huh.
That's good though. It's good, good, good.
Yeah,
So
that's
trying to
very
find
good.
out what year that happened.
Okay, Mom.
Man, that's awesome. Yeah, we love this type of stuff, man. We watch all kinds of different shows.
You know, that's why most people come see me. They want
Yeah.
to see it in real life.
Yeah.
And then I prove to you that, you know, the TV shows are bullshit.
Oh, well, her stepdad is now deceased, and her grandmother's recently deceased
Okay.
before Thanksgiving, week before.
Can I get her first name?
Well, not here, but
No.
yeah.
Can I have
Yeah,
it so it's in
yeah.
my head?
Wanda.
Wanda.
Mhm.
It's easy to remember because that was my grandmother's name.
Okay.
So if
And
I see
then-
it pop up tonight,
Her stepfather is Rodney.
right. Wanda.
Yeah,
Wow,
we
that's
get-
hard to save together.
Oh yeah, man, we get lights flickering, stuff moving,
Okay.
like poltergeist stuff, but not
Okay.
nothing bad. So. Oh, it's awesome. Like we had a roll of paper towels on top of the refrigerator one time that were laid down in a basket, and they rolled off in the floor. They had to get out of the basket and roll
Yeah.
off into the floor. So it's like, come on, man.
You have to need some cameras set up.
Yeah, we told them to go home.
Yeah, so he also
Not yesterday.
Trying to move.
It's not an easy job. I said that's not an easy job listening to that thing at all.
Yeah, I feel like I'm doing my whole car trying to find
That's funny because they heard my It's like, so they asked Charles after this stage, and he said, I got
Get anything? Get anything? Right there?
Alright, have you had anything else about that 2022? Alright guys, let's get you some answers. Let's come over this way.
Let's go.
Definitely turn off that car.
I just did. Yeah, no, when it was going off earlier, it would kind of hit, and it would hit, and then finally it hit and stayed.
Yeah, is this gonna be like a full video or are you gonna clip it?
Well, you're going to stop it right now. So go ahead and hit the square. And then we want to turn off Frank's video. Cameras you can. This is a brief stop. The names, the reason why I asked that is because when we crossed the last crosswalk, that's where the original Charlestown Wall used to be. Charleston used to be called Charlestown, the walled city. This is one of the very first streets we ever had. What does that mean for you? People used to live here. I have the full list of residents of every person that used to live here. We did get the name Sharon on Al's device. I can't say that that's actually relevant, but we'll see what happens. I'll have to go through the list. The names that I commonly get are Benjamin and John. That is 2 out of 5 people that lived here in 1801. So what's significant about 1801? I have no idea. Every 6 to 7 weeks I get those 2 names, and every once in a while a third name will pop up, Jane. Again, I don't tell you what names to listen for on purpose. There's only 5 I'm looking for. 3 out of 5, that's pretty good odds that it's not coincidence, that it's not a stone tape theory. What does that mean? We're walking on Belgian blocks. They're made out of pure granite. They're straight from the earth. Things like granite and limestone that come straight from the earth, they say can hold on to the consciousness of memories. So every 6 to 7 weeks, it's like I'm catching the tail end of a movie, and I'm getting Benjamin and John's name. Now, spirit boxes, and it comes up on different spirit boxes. Sometimes children's laughter will show up here as well. The word toddlers has come up several times. The other piece about this alley, we used to be here, before people lived here, there was a Masonic lodge from the Freemasons. That's why it's called Lodge Alley. We will get the word Mason, we will get the word alley, Masonic, brick, anything dealing with the Freemasons, including the word Illuminati. I've gotten that, I think, 4 or 5 times in the past year alone. So, very interesting space, indeed. They did do an archaeological dig on these bricks. These bricks are original from 1735. These people were lower class. They figured that out by some of the tools and artifacts that they found. So they found some of their clothing and silverware and that kind of thing. Lower class people. I told you that the house at the Pinckney Mansion site sat broad, meaning the bigger part of the house faced the street. That's a pretty bold move back then. The reason why is because they taxed you based on how much street side you took. That's why the houses on the Battery are skinny and they go back long. The people here had little tiny shotgun houses, meaning they're only 1 to 2 rooms. The smell of low tide would be coming over the wall down this alley. It makes sense that the low tide smell would draw lower class people, lower rents to pay for their homes. So I'd like to bring up those little architectural things because you're going to be walking around Charleston some more, I'm sure, and now you have a little bit more insight. This is a very interesting space. My wife and I have taken, I don't know how many photos, and with different types of cameras. We will capture orbs with the camera that Frank has. I've captured shadow people down here. And again, let's not forget the whole stone tape theory of the names that I get consistently. So what happens from here is we're going to walk through the rest of this alley. And once we get to the end, both cameras will be shut off if you're recording. And absolutely no lasers. I'm sorry, you're out of the game for a little bit, Tate. No. I mean, you can on the ground down here, but once we get out, we're going to be in a neighborhood, so definitely cut them off. I'm literally taking you right on the edge of where tour guides are allowed to take you. So we're going to go to another alley, but we're not allowed to go down it because I've been kicked out. You guys have to remember, you joined the weirdo group with the blinky lights and the noisemakers. So it is residential at the end, and we're not allowed to go all the way through it. However, I do capture a ton of evidence just telling the story right outside of this alley. It's very interesting, and it is the most beautiful place we have in all of Charleston. So definitely listen to your spirit boxes as we roll along through here. Let me know what you hear, if it's names or no names, whatever it might be. And again, let's just make sure we cut off the videos once we reach the end of the alley. You're already on. Actually, yeah, you're still on. It's just bright in here, so it's probably hard to see that infrared light. But as we get to the darker space, you're literally going to be the only person that can see. So we have that infrared lighting. All right, let's move along. Let's go.
Gym like an essence.
What is it? Gym? I'm sure there was.
Could be like gym, like workout or like gym. Like, I heard of that.
I'm sure there was plenty of James that were down here, but it wouldn't have been a nickname.
I
back
heard
then.
good things.
Be known as Duelers Alley. This is where all the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. We all tell the story of one specific duel because it actually occurred, and again, this is the one where I got booted out of. It is gorgeous down there, so I'll point out a few things after the history of this place, and I'll be definitely keeping an eye on Patty's word list to see what comes up, so that'll be our indication that we're getting other things from the other spirit boxes. Doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. And her attorney says, get rid of the doctor, he's just after your money. To prove that he's not, he comes to Charleston. The coachman that brought him into town set him up to be robbed and killed. Wasn't a very good start to his stay in Charleston. Somebody walking by with the name of Ralph Isaacs. Keep in mind, you're ghost hunting. Initials mean something. Ralph Isaacs has the same initials as where the doctor came from, Rhode Island. So our eye shows up here. We need that secondary clue so we know who it belongs to. He says, dude, you don't want to stay here. This guy's going to try to kill you. I got somewhere else for you to stay. I got some friends at 59 Church Street. Church Street is the next block up. So he goes and rents a room from Ralph's friends, and Ralph and the doctor become friends themselves. The doctor's practice starts to take off. He's making lots of money. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor because he whistled all the time because that meant Amanda's moving down soon. So with that, by the way, every haunted city has a whistler. Ours just happens to be a doctor. So anyway, him and Ralph go see plays together, but they can't sit next to each other because the doctor has better seats because he makes more money. That's just the hierarchy of Charleston. Yeah, kind of like going to the movies with your friends, but you can't sit next to them. They talk about the play on the way home. They go see William III one night from Shakespeare. The doctor loves the new actress that's here in town. Ralph, not so much. They start arguing. Then Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. It gets pretty ugly, and they go their separate ways. Ralph is from here. He has friends at the newspaper. He puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Not a very nice ad, just to point that out. The doctor sees the ad, and he rebuttals with, let's go to Duelers Alley. We're going to settle this. So they come down, take their 20 paces out, they turn. The doctor points his gun in the air, and he shoots. He didn't want to kill his friend. He just wanted to make a point, have the courage and bravery to show up to the fight, which is often what happened during the duel, by the way. However, Ralph has his one bullet. He puts it in the kneecap. Sorry, Frank. Puts it in the kneecap of the doctor. The doctor doesn't die. He's carried home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. Also keep in mind, this is a doctor. He probably tried to heal himself by bleeding out the bullet. So, I gave you a ton of keyword terms that I get around this space. Obviously things dealing with the kneecap, whistling, doctors, newspapers, 59. All kinds of mess comes out of this location because there's a ton of keywords that are specific to this store. They say as you walk through the alley, you can actually hear the whistles from the doctor. Keep in mind, locals know the store. Anybody walking down Cumberland or Queen Street, which is the other side of the alley, will throw a whistle down the alley. I'm one of them. I do it every single night. We're going to end up there. My garage is right there. I throw a whistle down there every single night since I've been tossed out. So, just my little fun way of doing things. They also say you can hear gunshots. I don't really record gunshots. But I do invite you to go walk through that alley without a tour guide and turn on your voice recorders from your phone and listen to it later. You will capture very faint whistles in the background. I have plenty of them that I cannot debunk. One of the reasons why I got kicked out of this alley is a little bit of history about the alley. The alley didn't always come this far to Cumberland Street. At the other end, the bricks are much older, right outside the mansion. Beautiful mansion, by the way. And those bricks are sun-dried from slave children. There's a handprint and full fingerprints at no boredom. So, last stop as I change out the back. So you're going to be looking at the building across the parking lot over there with the crosses on it. Those are not crosses, by the way. Those are earthquake bolts. Earthquake bolts, just behind those is that they're turnbuckles. In the event we have another earthquake, like what we did in 1886, you can turn those turnbuckles and it'll tighten the building and straighten it back up again. It's a great theory, it just doesn't work. You guys have been looking at earthquake bolts for the entire time we've been in Charleston. They're decorated as lion heads or pineapples or similar BS of Charleston charm, but that's what they are. The reason I bring these ones up particularly is because these are the very first set of earthquake bolts that we put in Charleston. Why? This is the gunpowder magazine. This held the gunpowder for 7 different wars, including the Civil War. So, we'll start the video after the history. The reason I bring all of this up, we're going to talk a little bit about the history of this building because it makes sense to the story. So, I told you guys about the Charleston Wall, right? The Charlestown Wall. It was on that street over there on Cumberland, right where we were telling the Philadelphia Alley story. So, it's locked into the corners of the original Charlestown walls because the wall came up this way, went past the powder magazine, and literally started going south behind me towards the back. The reason for that is it's 3 blocks away from the water. If a pirate or any kind of warship is going to come and try to attack the gunpowder magazine with the gunpowder inside, it's going to have a hard time at the trajectory coming from the water to go through the 32-inch thick walls. They're giant. Let's say it goes all the way through. There's sand in the roof from 1712 that's supposed to blow up with the explosion and fall to put out the fire of the gunpowder. It's another great idea that doesn't work. So we had another gunpowder magazine near the battery. It did get attacked. Sand went up. Building burned to the ground. No longer exists. So take that for what it's worth. We're here because this is a government building. This is the oldest government building in South Carolina. 1703 to 1713 was how long it took to make this very small building. Does it sound like our government to take 10 years to do something? Not at all. Our story actually begins in the middle of its construction. So the ghost we're dealing with is what I call a familiar ghost. So we're here because this is something she would recognize. Now, that's why I call this a hit or miss. We only have a handful of buildings this old around town. She is said to be seen all over town. So let me tell you her history. You gotta follow me on this, there's a lot of twists. You awake, Rachel? Okay. 1708, Anne Cormack moves here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is her mother. You guys with me so far? The 3 of them are getting away from his angry wife. They moved here in 1708. Here, by ship. How angry was that wife? Just saying. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So, they land in Georgetown. That's just north of here, between here and Myrtle Beach. Dad buys a plantation. Mom dies pretty quickly. He starts sending the young daughter down here to sell anything from the plantation and any of the wares that they might actually have. So, the building is familiar. That's why we're here. Anne was kind of a badass back home in Ireland. They say she actually killed one of her servants with a knife to the belly. Sorry, we're going down. Whoever's to my right. So, that kind of gives you the mentality of this young lady throughout the rest of the story. We're going to fast forward a little bit. The building over here is done in 1713. Pirates are here in 1715. She's stoked. She's about 15, 16 years old at this time. She falls in love with a pirate. Of course she does. His name is James Bonny. James, being a filthy pirate, Dad doesn't approve. So they run away to Jamaica and they get married. He's chuckling already, like, oh man, this is going to be a whopper. So when she gets down there, they get married. Anne Cormack becomes Anne Bonny, your most famous female pirate of the Golden Age. Now, James Bonny is not the Captain Jack Sparrow she was hoping for, right? Because you all picture that swashbuckling, drunken rum guy, right? That's not him. He's a privateer. He basically is a spy for the British. In her eyes, he's a coward. This is not who she wanted. A few years later, she falls in love again. John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. Calico Jack is the Captain Jack Sparrow that she was looking for and has his own ship. She wants to be part of it, but let's face it, girls curse pirate ships. You can't put a girl on the crew. You need to deal with it. To become part of the crew, you gotta dress like the crew. And you gotta hide your gender. Nobody can find out you're a female. You could be a female in my quarters. He's the captain. That's how it works. So, she agrees because back home, in Ireland, Dad used to hide her as a boy to keep her away from his wife. So she's already cool with this cross-dressing bit. She becomes part of the crew, female in his quarters, let's put two and two together. She eventually gets pregnant. You can't have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. It's just not gonna work. Somebody's gonna figure it out. So he drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby, come back, we'll figure it out later. So she goes, she has the baby, she returns with no baby. We have no idea what happened to the child. She's also dressed like a girl. She doesn't give a damn anymore about hiding her gender. This makes Jack mad. Jack also captured another pirate crew while she was gone. And he's gonna go flirting. We're on guy number 3 in case somebody lost track. Love the hecklers. So, the guy she starts flirting with turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy, to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. So now we have 2 females doing the exact same thing on the same ship. This, apparently, there was rumor that there was a lover's relationship there. So this young lady's name is Mary Reed. Her and Mary become friends, probably more than friends, and Mary becomes part of the crew. The British find out where they are, and they send their entire fleet of ships to come take down one pirate ship. Anne and Mary are the only 2 not drunk enough to come up and fight with their 1-bullet muskets. So obviously the ship's going to get taken, and they're going to get captured. As they're being arrested, Anne looks at Jack and says, "You should have fought like a man instead of going down like a dog." So, yeah, dog will show up here from time to time. The judge, he tries and hangs Calico Jack and all of his men, except for the 2 men that fought back. He wants to see them separately. So the 2 ladies go in front of the judge. By the way, his name is Nicholas, so if you hear or see my name, it's not me, it's the judge. He said, the girls go in front, they reveal their gender. He doesn't care that they're girls or females. He's still going to hang them because they're pirates. They say, "We plead our bellies," meaning they're both claiming to be pregnant, because you cannot hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It is illegal. So, he sends them both back to jail. He's going to hang them later. Dad is still here in Charlestown with all of his Irish money. He bails her out, brings her back home, and she remarries again, guy number 4, is just becoming married, has 4 kids, and dies at the age of 84. I know, very abrupt ending, but that's how it goes. We don't know much about her career
That's
after.
a long life after that.
Yeah, no doubt.
That was the number that
I knew it. Okay, perfect. So again, we're close. We'll see if anything else pops up to verify that. He heard 84, not 84, but 83. So we'll kind of see what else pops up around that. As far as Mary Reed goes, she died a year later in the Jamaican jail from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. I'm sure it was bumpy and gross and scurvious and whatever other adjective you want.
So that he sent her to Jamaica when she was still in jail, or she got out of jail also and then ended up in Jamaica? Because was she arrested here in
No.
America, or
No, she was
arrested
arrested
in
right.
Jamaica? So the dad only filled out his daughter.
Right. So Mary was left to try. So there are 2 questions. This is a level 3. So you guys is going to progress as we move along. The only 2 questions I'm going to give you that you can ask, and I can obviously verify. The rest is up to you. But the 2 questions are the name of Calico Jack's ship or the name of Anne Bonny's parents. I leave those out on purpose. This story has a ton of holes. We are looking for those direct answers. As in, Anne, what happened to your baby? By all means, ask whatever you want to. I don't care. As long as you get an answer. That's what we're after. You have stuff like 84. You get the number 5. She obviously had 5 kids. 1 in Cuba, 4 back here in Charleston. So again, do the math. Figure it out. There are certain things about this space that I do want to reveal to you before I set everybody loose with your gear and gadgets. I told you at the beginning of the tour that people have passed out on this. This is one of those spaces. Just a few months ago, before I told the story, I brought everybody back here, and a young man next to me went white as a ghost. I mean, white as I've ever seen anybody go. I'm not making that up. And I had to pick him up by the shoulder. Like, that's how far down he was going. His boyfriend picked him up on the other side of him. He took him over to the wall over there. I sent the boyfriend over to go get him a bottle of water. He comes back. He's starting to feel better. I tell the story. Okay, it's important that you know that he doesn't know the story yet. Afterwards, I send everybody out. They stay behind and say, "Nick, we need to tell you something." I had 2 transgender males on the tour, 2 females dressed as men on the tour, and it made complete sense to them of why they were affected before the story was even told.
That's pretty cool.
So, again, that is something that does occur from time to time. When I get psychics on the tour, they don't usually make it past the financial side. I've had to call ambulances and everything else. Like, it can get ugly. And the first time somebody passed out, I was in CPR classes. This space, I will also tell you, once I got kicked out of Philadelphia Alley, I told you it was significant for me to come here. That was the day before Thanksgiving, was the day I got screamed at by the new neighbor. So Thanksgiving I took off. The next night was November 28th, 2020. I started coming up here. I don't know much about Anne Bonny. I'm going to tell what I know and kind of see how it goes. We got the number 300, and we also had the name Anne show up. Why is 300 significant? It was the exact 300th year anniversary of her trial. November 28th, 1720 was her trial. I didn't even know it at the time. I discovered it the next day. I said, oh shit, now I gotta learn about pirates. So I'm a vampire guy. So I've read, I don't know how many books on Anne Bonny alone, how many articles, you name it. And I only tell you guys what is common among more than 2 to 3 articles or books. So again, take this with a grain of salt. We don't know how much of it is true, but we are going to explore this area. For those of you with cameras, if you want to go to the front of the powder magazine and point the lasers in there and get some footage, you can. The only thing I'm going to ask with the lasers is that you don't go above the powder magazine. That building behind it is an apartment building. It'll be shining in somebody's living room. So you'll be in the front, just don't show it up too high. Also, don't interrupt other tours. They like to cut through here, and they will stop in front of the building. So if you're going to check out the front of the building, we will kind of wrap up and gather near the wall, which is where I'll be hanging out, and you guys can come tell me what you've heard or what you've seen or so forth and so on. EMF meters, this is not the Pinckney Mansion site. So if you get anything, I will be excited. That means something else is probably going off as well.
Yeah, because mine's not moved since you got here.
So definitely turn up that REM pod. Let's get those videos recording. Lake's been going this whole time, so you guys are going to have a ton of footage from him. That sounds fun. That's stuff, right? I did have somebody feel a cobweb.
Oh, yeah?
Here one night. That's why I asked you if it felt like a cobweb. We searched that whole area. Broke it again? Right.
Nick,
Hey, you didn't make it forward,
just
did you?
got like 2 reds here. But now it's turn back that way.
That's awesome. Like, it says that battery's dead. I did just change it.
Brand new battery.
Brand new.
He zapped it, didn't he?
I
Drained
put
it.
all 5 batteries on the charger before I leave the house every day. As soon as I get home, everything gets charged and it stays on there until I leave. So the fact that you kill the battery in less than an hour, I would say it's pretty significant. Let me write it down.
Been a lot of energy pulling out of that.
Something's pulling it.
What? What happened?
I said, what happened to your baby, Ann? And it said fake.
Fake?
Fake. Like it was a fake.
F-A-K-E. Fake?
She never had a baby.
Maybe. Yeah, who knows?
That's weird, huh? It was totally, that was totally there.
This is why I carry so many damn batteries. That's why the bag's so big. It's chock full of batteries. I was telling the other 2 groups before you guys arrived that I'm adding a piece. It actually arrives on Thursday. And it's a giant SLS cannon. It weighs probably a good 20 pounds, and my bag's already 50. So I'm gonna have to either change bags.
Carry over.
Well, I did order like one of those like 5 bags to put the smaller pieces in, like the little steel boxes and whatnot.
Yeah.
So that way this bag can just hold the heavy cameras.
Right.
Which is like, man, it's a lot to carry around.
So we asked it twice
There
what
you go.
happened to your
That's good.
baby, and the first time it said fake, and the second time it said family, and then I got a chill.
Fake family.
Fake
Fake
family.
family.
Oh, that's something. That's good switch, huh?
And then I got a chill right after that. Make sure I write that down.
No, but I will write down that his battery died with like less than 30 minutes.
Oh wow. Who's better?
Frank.
Frank.
Oh, my friend is
There's something else. She doesn't want you to write that down.
How's your list coming?
Was she ugly with the other girl? Yeah. In what way? Mary? Was Mary one of yours?
Yep. So this is one of the first things I look at because if something is significant, that's when I know to hook up video cameras, basically.
Keeps dying.
That's where he's at.
Froze up.
We gives up or is
We
it
got
dead?
back to the corner.
2 seconds I'll take the battery pop. What's that? I'm just pulling it out and putting it back in again.
Right, I want to give you that corner there.
I've even changed out like the SD card styles to make sure it wasn't that was affecting it, and it still did it. Alright, this is good. Oh, where's that?
I heard Journey and Amelia.
Thinking I had a ladies now.
I'm not sure. Like, all the way they get are just. Yeah. I've heard any numbers at all other than 2,000, but that which has it's a $2,000 engagement ring, so yeah. Which I had engagement earlier now. Yeah. Like I hear a lot of music that I know, and so I'm like, okay, obviously that is just picking up radio stations and talking about like promo codes and stuff. Okay, that's yeah. It's also hard to hear words sometimes. I'm like trying to.
Those aren't the best earbuds.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but it's also like.
I buy them in bulk, that's why.
Give them away.
Yeah. I mean, I think
I heard it's half.
Was her father's name Mark?
no.
Okay, but we got 5 too.
I'm very clear 5, and it was a female's voice thing that said 5. Oh, it doesn't.
Disembodied. So that means it's not radio chatter. So like yesterday's disembodied voice, I paid attention to it and they sound like a female voice.
Okay, this was a very clear, like just 5.
Like anything weird on yours?
Just when they walked through, they started asking a few questions.
I've seen that thing act really weird in this space.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe 49, and like a patch. But it was when they were walking across it, so I don't know if it was just
Variation.
distorted. Yeah.